And salutations. I hope everybody is well. I still can't completely hear, so I'm not trying to be loud. I apologize if I sound weird. So happy Monday. I just wanted to go over a few headlines that I thought were odd. And before I get there, I'll turn on the comments for today because I have a theory I'm sorting out and I want to see if it's correct. And the other thing was, I'll ramble for a minute till anyone gets here. My personal channel and the eclipse videos have never been about, quote unquote, the end of the world. I don't think the world ends. The end of an age, definitely. And I think I'm seeing a lot of alleged Christian channels, and they're big channels. So you have to ask yourself why they got so big. Especially on YouTube, because YouTube is a little different than celebrities. These folks were handpicked and groomed for several years before many of them, too, were initiated into these alleged secret organizations. So anyway, you have to ask yourself, why they're covering certain things or why they're saying certain things. But I'm disappointed in so many saying, oh, the eclipse was nothing and you're not supposed to pay attention to signs and wonders. We're also not supposed to read half of a book or cherry pick, quotes or take things out of context. And it's a shame some of these things have to be gone over in this day and age with grown adults on the internet, but everybody is all keen on having proper etiquette, but not just speaking proper English and having common courtesies when having discussions. So I'm disappointed that so many are, saying certain things, because my personal channel and my personal prayer has shown me that America itself is already under judgment. I mean, come on, we have to be real here. We have a sacrificial nation. We sacrifice our youth. We're like Kronos. We eat our young. Allegedly, it's in some of the food we consume. Babies that have been ended. I'm not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. That is in the comments, but I speak from personal experience and from research and from following the science, as they say we should. And, we have to look at the truth of our nation when we do things like that to our own and to our young. That is anti-nature. It goes against the flow, the tide of nature itself. And there's a price to pay for that. There's a debt that America especially owes because of that. And it's my opinion that it is a sign for a wicked generation. The signs and wonders we're not supposed to pay attention to are the signs and wonders of Satan, like Elon Musk floating a car around in space that doesn't even look like a nice collectible Matchbox car. And I know, because I've had my share of Matchbox cars I've had to line up and pick up for myself and my own children. So those are the signs and wonders we're not supposed to pay attention to. But when God places something in the heavens, we should take notice. America is already under judgment, and I believe that could and will probably get a whole lot worse. I don't think we'll have an election, but if we do, it will be a selection, and we will probably get the leader that we deserve. And now that I've probably scared everybody off, let's get into some headlines that I thought we should take a look at. This will be quick. I just wanted to go over some things that I thought were, that stood out, that were strange. Now, I've been monitoring earthquakes, and they have been kind of weird, but that's not specifically what I want to look at. So let's look here. Talks about the aftershocks in New Jersey. Talks about a home that might be unsafe. And then that's just weird. That just is a bunch of headlines in one link, but it makes it look like it's one. And I thought this was weird. O.J. was an earthquake. We're still living with his aftershocks. They make fun of all this stuff like it's funny. I don't know. Was there actually one there? Did you guys feel it? Did anyone feel it? Are they just trolling the Christians? But again, we're seeing people, some of us are, that look different, that behave different, that don't really seem altogether human. And we're seeing this anti-human agenda everywhere, in science, in media, in medical, in the healthcare industry, with euthanasia. We're just seeing this anti-human agenda all over the place. So are they just trolling us and trying to scare us? Was there actually an earthquake? And why are they using this terminology referring to OJ? Because if you remember back before the quake ever happened, right around the eclipse again, before that ever happened, they used Taylor Swift. They said that she caused an earthquake in LA. And I thought that was weird too. And again, you have this male, female, black, white. One is quote unquote good, a good girl, one is quote unquote a bad guy. So you have these things manifesting, at least in the media, that are very symbolic, right, of the times that we live in, of this division that everybody seems to be going through yet again. I thought we had learned this lesson from history, and if I come across harsh these days, that's why. I think we should, there's nothing wrong with cooking dinner for your neighbor and taking care of the elderly. They have wisdom to share. I mean, those are good things. Our culture is the only one that is so dismissive of its elderly and its youth. And we lie somewhere in the middle as to who we market to and who we make the society about, when it's just a fraction of a lifetime that someone has to give their wisdom and knowledge to the culture, and that's why I believe oral history and oral cultures are admirable, because they teach their young directly, and they teach those that are coming after them through the word of their own mouths. And they're not trusting technology, they're not writing it down even. Sometimes maybe later they do, but oftentimes all of their customs have been passed down orally. And I think that is pretty significant too. Now, the other thing that I wanted to look at, I wanted to show you that I thought was ironic. Look at who had an earthquake. There was almost a 4-point earthquake in Coachella. Coachella earthquake shakes Southern Cal desert during the music fest. About 20 miles away from Coachella Festival gently rocked by a magnitude 3.8 earthquake. And that's a wild place, and it's a wild event, and most people know this, and it in itself is some type of ritual. I don't think personally Beyonce's ever been the same since that. She seemed like a real person, but now that if you look at her videos and stuff, it's almost like, again, they're using a whole lot of AI. And at the last awards ceremony, I thought she looked more like her mother than she looked like herself. So it was kind of bizarre. It makes me think back to like that elevator incident. Like, if they can replace people, like, is that what they're doing there? I don't know. I used to really like her as far as celebrities go, so it can be upsetting. So I thought that was worth mentioning, and the way they referred to first the Taylor Smith concert, and now the OJ headline saying that he was an earthquake. I thought that was kind of telling. Now we're just gonna click on that, and we're just kind of looking through things, and I'm going to show you a few things that I found. It changes every time you open it, so. Now, where should I go from the easiest to the hardest, or let's start here, because this is super quick. It'll only take a moment. A bald eagle eats 2 of his own hatchlings in West Virginia out of confusion. Now, this happened April 13th. Out of confusion, I think that's a very strange thing to say. It says, now these are, let me back up here. This is a nest that they monitor. They have like a trail cam in there, and so people can go watch it. Now, again, if you think your privacy is something that is valued here in America, just because they don't say you're on CCTV all the time doesn't mean that you're not. Like, they're everywhere, and they're putting it online. Like, even pawn shops that have cameras in their pawn shops, they're putting the interactions on the internet and making money on YouTube channels. I don't know how this stuff is allowed. I don't consent to that. Like, I don't, there are people who it's against their religion to be filmed and have their image filmed. And that's the point I'm getting to, is like, I don't want anyone else taking pictures of me. Not because I feel like I'm doing something wrong, but because I feel like they are. Because I feel like now with deep fakes, you can go and put anybody's face on anything. And so I value, the image of God that I'm made in even more. And I think that's something worth talking about, and we should get into more later. But anyway, it was the father who ate them, much like Kronos eating his young. This bald eagle ate its own. Now, also, what's interesting to note about this, symbolically speaking, like I showed you with O.J. and Taylor Swift a moment ago, with the bald eagle, you have that same symbolism here, a strong symbolism. What is the eagle a symbol of? It is the symbol of America. And the woman in the wilderness in Revelation is taken away by the eagle. And so it is a very symbolic bird, right? Now, it's the bird of America, and you have this bird eating its young. Again, I was just saying, when America is under judgment, which we are now, it doesn't take natural tragedies or natural events to be under judgment, okay? The fact that everyone is so confused that we are arguing over gender, that is confusion. That is not, I'm not going to be politically correct. I can deliver the truth in love and kindness because it is the truth. That is a confusion. That is not anything. I don't want to use certain words, though. That is not something to just be swept under the rug. Like, that's a big issue. And it's also a big issue, again, that we basically eat our young through organizations like Planned Parenthood. And I know from experience, so I can speak on this topic. And again, the disclaimers are in the description box. So again, I am still a little hoarse, and it's really early, so I'm trying not to be loud and wake everybody up, and I can't hear the volume of my voice. So I apologize if I sound weird or harsh. Again, it's not meant to be harsh. It's just meant to be a fact. It's disappointing seeing all these people, even like especially the Christian channels, they thought something big was going to happen, and they're paying too much attention to signs and wonders. Again, read those verses in context. The signs and wonders of God are warnings, and that is a warning for a wicked generation, saying, you better repent. We are eating our young, and this is what this is all about. Symbolically, this father, much like Kronos, ate 2 of his young. Now, they say he was confused. He went out of the nest and came back. And, so yeah. Oh, baby giraffe broke its neck. So I thought that was, again, symbolic of all the things that we are dealing with now. Now, I'll do O.D.I.N last, because now I was checking up on CERN today just to see if there were any updates on all the things they've been doing. And I saw that they're going to use this on tumors. And again, I wanted to just say, if this would work, that of course would be a great step against defeating cancer physically. But we have gotten so taken up by materialism and this hedonistic way of thinking, in that this is all there is, that it's just a body we're treating, and we're only putting band-aids on the problem. This is why some people get cancer and it comes back, because we're not addressing the real issue. And the real issue is transgression, going against natural law. Things like pollution that put free radicals in the air, in the food. Again, I know this because I have a history with cosmetics. I was a cosmetics manager for a couple of years, and I had to learn about all of the ingredients that go into these cosmetics and what they do, and what ingredients are good for what. But anyways, that's where these things come from. It's from transgression, aka sin against natural law, which can mean anything. It doesn't just mean the 10 Commandments. It means going against nature. So if we're putting smog in the air, for example, that's not what we're supposed to be breathing in. We're supposed to be breathing in crisp, clear air, right? But if we put smog into the air and we're breathing that in and the animals are breathing that in, then we are sinning against both man and nature. So again, we have to get our minds out of the gutters. Not everything, even in the book of Enoch, not everything meant fornication, right? It meant going against natural law. And by poisoning the air and the water, we are not just poisoning the air and the water, but we are poisoning the entire food chain. This is a symbiotic system that we're in here. We all need each other to literally survive. The plants need us and we need them. And we both need each other to be alive, not deceased, right? I know this might be a weird video, but thanks for being here if you are here. So again, we're just looking at strange headlines and headlines that I think have a lot to do with why we are where we're at today. Now this I just saw by chance. A bold gene editing solution began testing, then hit the strangest twist. Anyone who's dealt with targeted individual harassment or who has delved into the Neuralink side of science and surveillance, you understand that the applications for this aren't as great as they want to tell you they are. They're not telling you about the darker side of these things. And the applications, meaning the ways in which they want to use them, is not for our betterment. It is for our further enslavement to this beast system. And so if you've studied anything having to do with like Havana syndrome, targeted individuals, gang stalking, you know what CRISPR is at this point. And you know that DARPA is also very interested in CRISPR. So again, these new scientific breakthroughs aren't as great as they seem on the surface. It's the applications we should be most concerned about, and usually it's the ones that they're not talking about. Now, I want to break away just for a moment and go back to my own page here and show you the community tab. Now, Tesla's Elon Musk, we're summoning the demon with artificial intelligence. He, quote unquote, warned us 9 years ago. Now, Gordy, I forget his last name, what's his face, said the same thing at a scientific show or whatever. So they're both using the same line, right? And again, people say, oh, he's so great, he's warning us. If he's so great and he's warning us, why is he responsible for Neuralink? It's because he's telling us. He's not actually warning us because he cares. He's saying, hey, now, this is what we're going to do. We're telling you, so you better not let us, or we're just going to continue with it. I thought this was funny because I thought it was true. He looks like an early Skynet T-600 with a rubber face over a clunky metal skeleton. You'll know the reference if you remember the Terminator movies. Yeah, I've never thought he was a real person. I don't even know how to phrase it anymore. I think he's a proxy, and I think a lot of elitists are. Now, you might not have watched this. Again, this is a alleged Christian channel. I don't believe much of what he says about his personal life at this point, for certain reasons. Again, he is covering very specific topics for a very specific reason, and I want to show you something that might help you. So just bear with me for a moment. This talks about how a kid was almost initiated, an influencer, and how he walked out of this initiation ceremony when he realized what was going on. The way that they keep you here and keeping their secrets is by filming you doing disgusting acts with each other. Things that you would not want your parents to know about. You would not want your wife, your husband, anybody else to know about. That's how they blackmail you and keep you in this. They bind you, right? It's slavery. You're in bondage at that point. You don't have much of a choice over what you do unless you don't care who finds out what they've got on film. I could give a hoot. I told everybody what I did, the things that happened, and that I wanted no part of it. and I told you guys all of this on the other channel, and I was mercilessly stalked on that channel and this one now. And I'm not going to stop until they stop. Like, there has to be somebody speaking out against this stuff and speaking out hope. And that's what this channel is all about. I might be kind of harsh with the truth, but the point is that humanity in the past has come together over great adversity and very challenging circumstances. And we've come together and risen to the occasion and helped our fellow man and helped each other and lifted each other up. And I think we can do it again, but we have to be willing. And we have to know our own shortcomings. And I want to show you something else because I don't know who actually sees these. Affirming the diseases is what we're doing wrong. Like, we should not be affirming these behaviors at all. Just like I don't want nobody affirm mine, my bad behaviors. I am looking for something again right here. He says she has a demon. What she is doing is called, she's being a sovereign citizen. And I would actually recommend it. And I don't think you have to know all about it to do it. You just have to understand and say, they'll say, are you such and such when they take you into court, and they'll ask you the name on your birth certificate, and you say, no, I am my name, and you give them your own name, like whatever name you want to name yourself in your heart. God renamed me years ago, so I know my name. And you tell them, I am such and such, and I am representing the name on my birth certificate, because the name on your birth certificate is a corporation, because it's in all caps. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to believe me. But again, this man, he's in the club because he's showing you where Christians are ending up, and he's showing you probably what you should be doing and saying. He's showing you that you're a corporation, that you're property, that you have no rights, and they especially say you have no rights when you get into jail, which isn't true, because your rights come from above. They don't come from any man or institution. So again, it might be hard. They might persecute you. They might take away some privileges or whatever. But your rights, like your humanity, your human rights, come from above. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Now, I found this by accident. And what's funny is there's a channel called O.D.I.N's Men, and I watch it sometimes because I think I know the person who is on there as well. He doesn't look like himself. They have things that they do to make themselves not look like their normal selves, but I'm not getting into that right now. Silicone masks and the whole bit. He talks about, again, I think it's propaganda, and I think a lot of people on YouTube, the big channels, are actors and actresses or influencers that they've paid off and that they have bought with their silence, because again, they will take whatever you have away from you, and they will make you do certain things or have you do certain things, knowingly, unknowingly, and they will film that. And then they will threaten you with it. They will blackmail you. And you don't want most of that stuff coming out because it's Sodom and Gomorrah type behavior. Like, that's what they do, and that's what they make you do, whether you want to or not, whether you are, no matter what your sexual preference is. So, when I saw that these scientists actually wanted to stop gene editing, I was like, gee, why is that? Because of some strange side effect they hit. So let's check it out. Now, first of all, it's Boston-based. I find that very key. That is where they had the scientific convention not too long ago, about a year ago now. They had the big Satanistic meetup where they tore up the Bibles and everything. Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts, Salem, Massachusetts, allegedly where all those witches were burned. I don't think they were witches personally, but when you do things like that on the land, especially when it's against innocent people, you bring a curse upon that land, and that's talked about in the Bible too. And again, I'm just being real here. Call it ghost hunting. Go to a ghost hunter's channel. They'll tell you the same thing. So if you want to say I'm crazy, there's people out there banking. Ghost Adventures has been banking off of this same stuff for many years. So, pointing at me and saying, oh, you're crazy and I think you have a mental illness. Like, I'm so over that. And I said the other day that there is no test for it because there isn't. And somebody said they can test your hair follicles. Do you know why people shave their heads before a drug test? Because your hair will hold things like LSD for up to a year or for, till that growth is gone. So you have to shave or cut it off. But when it grows back in, it's normal again. So, yeah, your hair does not hold things, quote unquote, forever. That would mean that mental disease comes and goes. And so, again, please, please educate yourself before discussing things on channels where people have actually come from an era where they know how to research and they're not scared of things. And I mean, I don't know how to say it any nicer. I don't want to say, like, it's just decency. If you're going to come to a channel and start arguing or trolling, just don't. Because at this point, you're just making yourself look foolish. There are many other channels you can go to where people talk about very base level things where you'd probably be more comfortable. So gene editing is the future of medicine, they say, which, could it be helpful? I'm sure. Yeah. But again, it's in Boston, so that's just something else, to add to that area. When you are, they also have the Boston Dynamics where the robots are, like the cop police dogs and stuff, and the police drones. Yeah, so all of this stuff again ties together. See, what happens is why they want to get rid of our police force is because then the government can call in private contractors, and private contractors don't give a fig about your rights. They don't take an oath. All right, they don't do any of that. So they're trashing our police forces in the media, some of them with very good reason, because they want to bring in private contractors along with probably the UN. But again, the UN's already here. It's been a Trojan horse from the beginning. They have been rebuilding our government quietly, well, not quietly, I don't think, behind the scenes since before the lockdown started. And that's, again, it's just obvious at this point. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. Look at all the resignations in the last 4 years in every state, in every tier of government. And tell me, please, that that's normal. Look at all the people retiring from the priesthood because they are being, quote unquote, canceled and persecuted. There's a reason they want to get rid of the old regime is to bring something in. Whenever there's a vacuum, something else always takes its place. And we're not throwing up a fit. We're not resisting at all. So they're filling it with exactly what they want to replace it with. They don't care what we want. And again, you can call me crazy, but in a couple more years, when things are really, really hard, you're going to wish that you listened to people like me. So again, it's weird that it's in Boston. It says unintended side effects actually stem from the drug's delivery system. That's what they want you to think, but whatever. Gene editing has been hailed by some as the next generation of medicine. And next generation, notice how that's in quotations. Because again, with gene editing, you get into like the thought of like hybrids and what were they calling them? Chimeras, human DNA blended with animal DNA, which they've already started. They've already done transplants with pig hearts into human beings, and they did a face transplant on a human being. And some of these things just aren't meant to be done. We're supposed to be treating what the sickness really is, and if we stopped doing certain things, certain cancers would not be as prevalent. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is common sense from doing research into science, and that's what we're doing here, is trying to figure out what they're talking about here. Now, Trump used this word warp too, and I thought that was a strange choice of words, but it might need a bit more work than just uttering Jean-Luc Picard from Starship Enterprise famous catchphrase, "Make it so," and cranking it to warp 9. That's because gene editing systems like CRISPR give scientists an incredible ability to manipulate the genome in a precise location, but controlling the final outcome of that edit can be much harder to predict. So it's not quite as easy as a computer programming. They want to think our life and our world is that easy, but it's not. And again, if you're just treating the physical ailment, you're not treating the cause. What we're looking at, cancer and tumors, that's an effect. By that point, when you can see something like that, it's already many times too late. So when I talk about symbolism and things manifesting in this realm, in the material, that's what I'm talking about, is they're not treating the root of the problem. And this is why they have to keep trying to beat it and overcome it, is because they're just trying to Band-aid it, right? They're treating the wrong thing. They're treating the outcome, and they're not treating the cause, right? I hope that makes sense. The company recently announced that it's putting a pause on its Heart-1 clinical trials after discovering unforeseen side effects of its gene editing treatment, a serum known as Verve 101. Again, strange choice of words there. You have a lot of occult, a lot of Greek mythology, a lot of Norse mythology, catchphrases and words that the media likes to throw in there, and I think it's worth paying attention to. I saw an article recently about my own county. I was going to share it. I thought about it, but I decided not to because I want to give it more time and see what happens with it. But the amount of money that we were given in a grant to get rid of this algae was $300,000 for our locally man-made lake to get rid of this algae. And it's basically to put fluoride in the lake. And I'm like, I mean, how much fluoride are you putting in the lake? And why do you need so much money? You should have that down to a science by now, with it being in the drinking water. Which is interesting because Detroit finally just put some limit about chemicals being added, man-made chemicals being added to drinking water. So they're finally making progress on that. And in my area, they're going to like go the other route, I guess, because we're a small town and now it's our turn to be ruined. I don't know. At potentially therapeutic dose levels of Verve 101, we have observed certain asymptomatic laboratory abnormalities. Okay, which is, again, worrisome if you break those words down and you know at the basics what they mean. In recent years, one of Verve's biggest goals has been developing a gene editing therapy that reduces cholesterol known to cause heart attacks. Let's be real here. We know that if they're using this type of thing, that's not what it's for. Like, that's not going to be the main application. We know this. Now, but it's boring enough to pass it off to the public. While high-density lipoprotein cholesterol, sometimes referred to as good, yeah. We want to know what the side effect is, right? So let's keep going. Last year, a Nature article analyzed the death of one patient in the trial and concluded it was the result of already advanced heart disease. But now it's hit another snag. That's what I'm wondering. Could it, like, if somebody's healthy and you give it to them, could it give them the disease? Much like you have with certain injections, they actually give you the sickness to try and build up your immunity to it. But some people, it makes them sick, right? So it's just a question. Again, I'm not a doctor. This isn't advice. We're just reading here. But now this serum has had another abnormal liver enzymes as well as low blood platelet counts. Yeah, that's not good. That's really bad news. It appears to be with how it is delivered. Now, I find this very strange, again, that they're saying it's still some time before physicians can truly make it so. Years and years and years, they've been messing with cancer and all these other things. And again, I have a feeling that everything that says it's helping a cause is actually creating that cause. And I've given you this theory before. Again, if you've not watched my missing persons video, the searches video, I'll post it in the community tab today. Maybe I'll go find it real quick and do it while you guys are on here, if anyone's on here. Okay, so what is this? I found this by accident. It was in a link. So let me see if I can find that again real quick. I just want to see if it's here. And I want to, now, first of all, the important thing to know about O.D.I.N is, again, he's a Norse god, okay? He's the god of both war and death. Half of the warriors who die in battle are taken to his hall of Valhalla. That's where most of these men who are hybrids or of these Nephilim, Rephaim genes, this is where they believe they will go or they want to go, yada, yada. We'll talk about that. We still got to hit up the Norse family tree there. And I think we're going to do that soon because it'd be a nice breakaway from some of the craziness in our real world. I found it accidentally, like I said. Was it this? It might have been that right there. Festival screening in support of defense of democracy. Oh, and I also saw it on a, this is why I watch certain tech channels that I watch. I saw it on a channel doing dark web searches, which I won't ever go to the dark web, but other people do, so I watch it. Because you find things that only you'll find if you're looking for them, right? So you have to know what you're looking for to find these sites, which makes it all the more intriguing. Now look, you've got the one eye symbolism up there, O.D.I.N intelligence. Let's see if we can do tailored intelligence solutions. Now, it says that this company looks like it was born or founded in the UK, but it's also been contracted into the US as well. I thought that was very interesting. There are police servers that use their OS&IS systems. O.D.I.N takes a bespoke approach to each project, aligning with them our clients' needs, ensuring they are met as efficiently, precisely, and cost-effectively as possible. This tailored strategy is exemplified in our asset tracing services, where we adopt a phased approach. This method ensures that client expectations are not only met, but consistently managed throughout the process. But what is it? Our enhanced due diligence and compliance services. Read those words. Due diligence and compliance services. We promptly notify our clients upon identifying any red flags. Well, who are your clients? Do tell. Well, one of their clients is the U.S. government. Well, who are they watching? And who are they wanting in compliance? This proactive approach ensures optimal use of our clients' time and resources, preventing unnecessary work on a project when warranted. At O.D.I.N, our team is composed, interesting diagram there. At O.D.I.N, our team is composed of seasoned experts who revel in the challenges posed by each project. We approach every case with a commitment to exhaustively explore every avenue, leaving no stone unturned in our pursuit of delivering unparalleled solutions to our clients. This is actually a very high-quality website. There are no typos at all to be seen. This person knows how to write, how to speak, how to evoke emotion in the reader. She has caught our attention. I said she because I'm thinking it's that woman I was reading about on the About page. But anyways, who looks very familiar, and I've seen her play other parts, so I'll have to watch out for that. Our collective expertise is also the key to our reporting. Our team members have honed their skills across diverse sectors and multifaceted projects, allowing us to navigate the complexities inherent in each case. This extensive experience forms the bedrock of our ability to tackle challenges. So what is it? What do they do? So they're saying they have a great track record, but what do you do? Let's go take a look. About. This is the founder, overseeing the company's operations in EMEA and the Americas. Nick has 14 years corporate intelligence experience, blah, 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 blah. You can read that if you'd like. Prior to establishing O.D.I.N, Nick was director at S.R.M., I don't know what that is, a UK-headquartered corporate intelligence and cybersecurity firm. And he graduated in London. So yeah, this is a European company. But they have now been contracted by the U.S. government. And the U.S. government has a website on the deep web, which I'm not going to show you, but I'll try and link the, I might link it where I heard that, but I don't know if I want to because, again, certain YouTubers are very funny about you even just sharing their videos. I wonder why that is. But anyway, in the video on the dark web, there's a site that the U.S. government itself has on there, and it leads to O.D.I.N, and it asks you to report any suspicious activity. It gets really in depth. What I was looking at is that's what it is. Hold, please. Hold. I gotta look at something because asset tracing. Asset tracing, what do you think that means? It means surveillance, tracing and tracking people. Assets. People are assets. We're resources, and some of us are worth more than others. Whether dealing with fraud, legal disputes, or financial investigations, we use a systematic approach to ensure all assets are identified and facilitate their recovery with utmost efficiency and cost effectiveness. We can undertake searches to identify assets and assess their recoverability prior to undertaking any legal action, meaning they'll avoid all the red tape and just go straight to the source, and they will work outside the bounds of any legalities that they have to until and unless they are made to, is what I'm understanding here. Oh, and they will do anything to prevent any potential breach of disclosure. Assets. We possess a suite of open source intelligence tools alongside an expansive network of human sources which empowers us to uncover a wide spectrum of asset classes, from tangible assets like real estate, vehicles, jewelry, and art collectibles, to intangible holdings like people, such as patents, business assets, and investments and complex corporate structures. Request a code. They are working with O.D.I.N. Yikes, I know that was bad. Oh, hold please. There it is. I knew I saw it. Police magazine. Police use O.D.I.N facial recognition to identify even non-verbal or intoxicated individuals. Boom. We might have to do a whole video on just this. Tech firm. Again, this is like that C.R.I.S.P.R stuff when that person was coming around my house and even gave me hats. Oh, C.R.I.S.P.R. He was telling me I was under surveillance. I didn't know he was telling me at that time. It took me like 3 years to catch on. To you know, I knew I was being watched, but I didn't know by who. I still have, fuzzy on why. Tech firm offers cops facial recognition to ID homeless people. Poor hygiene, reduction of property values, and degradation of a city's culture are listed as problems of homelessness. You know, it shouldn't be a crime because you don't want to live within this system. It is a wicked system, and it degrades people. And I know this because I'm a part of it. I know that. Like, if you want to go live apart from it, it should not be a crime. Nobody owns land. We've not learned from anything. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's always like, it always comes from European white men. Like, that's where this attitude comes from. Of hating on those that are different. And you don't see it. Like, they're altruistic. They go to other countries. They open all these charities, allegedly. But that's where this attitude comes from. That's where it came from with the original Native Americans who were pushed off their land. And they even said, it's not our land. It's not your land. You know, we live here. We take care of it. We rotate, right? They're nomadic. They follow the sun like most of us should be doing. This is why people go hungry, because they stay in one spot. You have legs for a reason. Get up and walk. There are other, you know, we should be following the food. This is, I'm sorry, I'm disgusted by it. Discussing homelessness, O.D.I.N lists poor hygiene, reduction of property values, and degradation of a city's culture, as well as crime, frustrations among citizens, and unchecked predatory behavior. There are more predators in our own government, and there are more predators who wear suits and ties every day on Wall Street and in certain churches than there are in the homeless. And I'm sorry, but this is, our biggest concern should be our fellow man's well-being. And yeah, we shouldn't want people degraded to such a state where they're animalistic in their behavior. It's a collective problem. You don't sweep it under the rug. You don't put them away on their own island or in their own building. It's not a crime. We are Sodom and Gomorrah. And when I say that judgment's going to come, I never once said the world's going to end. I said judgment's coming. And it's basically already here. We're seeing it every day. It is judgment in the fact that we have to deal with the people we have to deal with who are running things. They have no moral compass. There is no principle there. There is no value system. And when you don't believe in God, I'm sorry, when you don't believe in a higher being or a higher purpose that you're here, you'll do whatever to anybody because you figure there's no consequences. Now, they say they have values, but where do they come from? Where do you get them from? Who writes them on your heart if not God? Zero. I'm sorry if nobody liked this video, but actually I'm not sorry. It is what it is. So O.D.I.N intelligence value. The O.D.I.N program is developing biometric presentation attack detection technologies to help the government better detect when someone is attempting to hide their identity by spoofing biometric access control or authentication systems. See, now I'm not always down with people hiding their faces because that's how you get criminals. But at the same time, I'm not down with just recording everybody and anybody because I don't think it's cool. And I don't think it's cool for spiritual reasons. I think that's why we have a lot of the problems that we have are because of the constant cameras around. And you can see that in some of the lost footage tapes and movies and the found footage. That's why I share them. The main problems don't even start in the home until, for whatever reason, there's a camera put up or brought around. Then things start to happen. So there's something to that. But this video has been long enough. We're going to look into this O.D.I.N. If you're into that idea and you want to look into the whole system and all the tentacles, that, you know, what it's involved in and who's contracted it, like the video or comment below, let me know, and we will do a whole research video on just that. But I'm also going to work on the Norse angle because I think it also, again, looking through different eyes of perception helps us really to understand where we are in the grand scheme of things and to see that there is a purpose behind all things. I think we should be praying. I think we should be reflecting. And I think we should be making 180s in our behavior, you know, doing some things different, no matter what they are, no matter how small. You know, every journey starts with a single step. I love you guys. Pray for me as I pray for you. Have a blessed day.